Hello, everyone. What is going on? It's David Siteman Garland, aka DSG from Siteman Cancer Center / Rise Sloper Softball Nation / Easton / Legendary Sports / On the Run. That's a lot of slashes for our softball team. But I am here today to talk about buying bats on Facebook. And I'm going to give some tips on buying softball bats on Facebook. And then I'm also going to go through some kind of do's and don'ts. Why? Because it's a great way to save money when purchasing bats, both new and used. Great on Facebook. And also, I don't want you to get ripped off because, people get ripped off sometimes. And if you follow these steps, can I guarantee you that you're not going to get ripped off? No, but we can mitigate the risk. I've done hundreds and hundreds of deals on Facebook and have had exactly zero issues. But it's because I sort of follow this comprehensive system on how to do it. Okay. So let me just make sure here. First of all, we should be live everywhere as we get going. And if you have any questions as we roll along here, you can go ahead and ask them and I'll address them at the very end as well. Okay. So as we get going, let's talk about as we start off. It's on Facebook, you're going to often find better deals. That's one of the great reasons people use it compared to eBay, or a lot of times just buying it directly off a site. You can save hundreds, if not more, when it comes to buying bats on Facebook. Okay. And what's interesting about buying bats on Facebook is that it's got its own lingo. It's got its own kind of ecosystem. It's got its own rules. It's got its own do's and don'ts. And it's really interesting, and it's self-policing as well. So it's a really interesting community to buy bats from, which I'll explain here in a second as we roll. And, it's a lot of fun, to get them off of Facebook, and had a lot of success with it. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is break this down step by step, exactly what to do. And I don't care if you've bought bats before, never bought bats before, doesn't matter. We're going to break these down, and we're going to go over some of the lingo, some of the mistakes, some of the good stuff as well. Okay. And by the way, if you've bought bats before, good, bad, ugly, let us know in the comments. Okay. We can talk about that later on as well. Okay. All right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to join some of the buy, sell, trade Facebook groups. And I'm going to show you a quick demo of that here in a second. There's a few big ones that I would recommend joining. And these are the ginormous ones. We're talking 20,000 plus people in there. Okay. One's called Softball Addicts. Another one is called Softball Swap and Sell. And the other one is Softball Fanatics. Okay. So those are three of the bigger groups, easy to join. You just click, it might have a question or two, in you go. Okay. Now, you're going to see the terms, especially if you're brand new to this, just want to get the lingo down, is BST, which means buy, sell, trade. So if you see a group that says buy, sell, trade, awesome. That means you can, you guessed it, buy, sell, trade in the group. Okay. Now, another thing you can do, and I'll demo this in a quick second, is that if you like a particular brand of bat, okay, like Easton. How do I get that behind me? Boop, there's our Easton hat, right? Let's say you love Easton. You can search Easton BST, Easton buy, sell, trade, and you can find specific pages that are focused just on Eastons, okay? There's also certain other pages that focus on or groups, I may say, that focus on specific niches of bats, right? There's one called the Lumber Club, if you swing 27 ounce and up bats. There's one called, I think it's the Thrift Shop, which is bats that are $150 or less, okay? So there's these little niche groups that you can join as well. There's lots of groups out there. Don't feel like you have to join them all. But what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to just kind of demo this really fast, is I'm going to share. Let's see here if I can share my screen properly. Okay. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to just kind of hop over here to Facebook. Hopefully you can see this now as we go into Facebook. Okay, there we go. So I can just show you an example here. This is Softball Addicts, one of the groups here. I'll just hop into Softball Addicts just to give you an example. And there's a group, and what you'll see in here is, especially if you're a rookie, just kind of get used to this, get acclimated. You're going to see a lot of people selling bats. Also, a lot of people often have their feet in photos, which is a whole nother thing, but we don't need to get into that. You're going to see a variety of things. You're going to see people selling bats. You're going to see people asking for price checks, which we don't really even need to go into that right now. You're going to see people that post prices, people looking for trades. You're going to see everything. Okay. Now, a couple things that you can go that make your life much easier with these groups is if you know what you're looking for, okay, you can hit this search button right over here. On the right side, there's a search, and you can search for, I don't know, Easton Serenity. That's my favorite bat. So Easton Serenity, you can search this group for Easton Serenity. Boom. It'll bring up posts that have the Easton Serenity in it. Okay. You can also search overall on Facebook for this. So if you want to search all of Facebook, it's sometimes not quite as efficient. You can search for Easton Serenity in all of Facebook, and it can bring up some pages as well. Okay. But that's the basics of searching in a group. Now, of course, you could just browse. You don't have to be searching for something specific. If you just want to peruse, go ahead. There's going to be no salespeople coming up and yelling at you, right? Just go ahead and you can peruse along in the groups, take a look around, okay? So that's kind of the basics. The first thing you want to do is join the groups, get acclimated, start looking around in the groups, okay? So let me hit stop here on my sharing of my screen. So now you should be seeing me again, okay? So you're in the groups now. What are the next steps, okay? So like I said, number one is join the groups. Number two is find the approach that you want. You can either browse or search, or what you can do as well, and this is kind of the last resort, if you browse and search, don't find the bat that you're looking for, you can make a post in these groups saying that you are looking to buy a certain bat. Hey, I'm looking to buy a 26-ounce Fire and Ice. Hey, I'm looking to buy a 27-ounce, whatever, Travis Clark, I don't know, whatever it might be. You can make a post in there, and then you're going to get people that directly message you, okay? An important thing here on the messages, when people directly message you, make sure you search in your messages, because if you're not connected to these people on Facebook, which you won't be, most likely, it's going to show up in your other folder, your spam, your other things on Facebook. So make sure you're really checking your messages, because you don't want to miss it if someone's going to message you about it, okay? Now, step number 3 is knowing your lingo. Like I said, buying bats on Facebook, it's got its own little ecosystem. And I just want to go over some lingo that you're probably going to need to be aware of, okay? The first one is NIW. NIW. NIW stands for new and wrapper. So let me show you an example. Okay, this is one I just got off Facebook like a week ago. This is an Easton Serenity new and wrapper. Quite simply means it's literally new in the wrapper. It's, in the plastic. It's never been used. It is new in the wrapper. That's NIW, okay? The second thing that you might see is NOW, which means new out of wrapper. So that means that no one swung it, but it doesn't have the plastic on it anymore, okay? For whatever reason, okay? The third category, it's what's considered minty. Minty, kind of a weird thing. You're thinking, is that my breath? No, not your breath. That's the bat. Minty essentially means that there are very, very few, if any, marks on the bat. I mean, we're talking like it's in mint condition. Think about trading cards back in the day. Mint condition, I mean, there's really no flaws. There's no scratches. There's no really even ball marks. That's what's considered minty, okay? And then what you're going to often see in the groups, and this is, I always kind of find this interesting, is that in the groups, you are going to see people that list the amount of swings that are on the bat. Take this with a grain of salt. People say, hey, it was 37 swings by a 100-pound girl inside of batting cages, okay? You got to take that with a little bit of grain of salt when it comes to swings on a bat, right? A lot of people say, hey, it's got 50, it's got 100, it's got 150, and that what they're really talking about is condition of the bat, right? Condition of the bat when it comes to that. So swings, be a little bit aware, but a lot of people like to list that to kind of give an indication. Like here's a bat, for example, I just got, and the guy said, hey, she got, maybe 30, 40 swings on it. You can see there's really not many marks on it at all, right? Okay. The other category you might see is gamer. Okay, so if you see a gamer bat, what a gamer bat refers to is, and by the way, don't feel like you need to memorize all this stuff. We're going to leave these videos up, share them. Please share this video. If you have the share button and you like it, share it to everybody so that I want less people getting ripped off on bats. I want you to get the bats you want. I want you to save money. Okay. So gamer simply means a bat that's all the way broken in. You can use it in a game right away. Bats vary on how many swings that takes, but if it's in, it should not have any cracks. It should not have any rattles. It should not have any issues, but it's very well broken in. The appearance might be a little weird, but whatever it is, that's what a gamer bat is, okay? So those are sort of the categories of the bats. Then there's going to be two other key phrases to know. It's all part of our step 3 here, okay? GTG and NGTG. Very, very important, okay? GTG and NGTG. You will see this all the time. GTG means good to go. And we'll talk about this later on, what a good to go actually is. But essentially what a good to go means is that other people will vouch for this person, saying that they are not going to rip you off, that they've dealt with this person before. They're either a close personal friend, they've done deals with them, they're on their team, whatever it means. It's good to go, meaning that person X is good to go. I vouch for them and for this deal. Okay. Then there's something that's the opposite of this. And this is something you never want to end up on. And that is not good to go. Not good to go, which simply means someone's ripped someone off. You shouldn't do business with them. They're shady, whatever. Okay. Now, the next step here is before you even contact a seller, let's say you're on there, you search, you find the bat you want. You're all excited. Okay. You're thinking, okay, what do I do? Well, the first thing that I would do before you even contact a seller, before you even send them a message or anything you're going to do, the first thing that you want to do is that I would recommend going to the Not Good to Go Facebook group. Okay. It is called the Softball Wall of Shame, Not Good to Go, NGTG Facebook group, and search for their name and any potential acronyms, search for the last name, see if anything comes up. And if it has, the community is very self-policing. So if you go into the Not Good to Go, it's a mouthful, group, search around for those names, see if it's anyone on there. And by the way, incredible bathroom reading. The Not Good to Go group, join it just for the entertainment factor in there. There are some just absolutely wild stories in there. I'm telling you, it is pure entertainment in that group. I mean, obviously, there's a serious element to it because people get ripped off and there's problems, but there's also some just amazing stories in there. But the first thing I would do is search this person. Are they in the Not Good to Go group? If they are, pass. No need to message them. Move on. It's not worth it. Okay. Even if they're a reformed, not good to go person, there's too many people in this world that are really, really nice and upstanding, and you don't want to be dealing with those people in the Not Good to Go group. Okay. Now, that's the first thing that you want to do before you contact the seller. Now, what do you do next? This is very important. This is what I call step 4, is you say, okay, they're not in the Not Good to Go group. Let's contact them. The first thing you want to do is comment below their post and say PM sent, which means private message sent. Why? You do this to alert them that they have a message incoming from you, because you're probably not connected to them on Facebook. So it might go into their it might go into their spam, whatever it might be. Right? So you want to say, hey, I'm sending you a PM or PM sent. That's the first step. Once you send it, I usually send something like, hey, is the, Easton Fire and Ice available? Okay. They say yes, right? This is the steps that you want to take at this point. Number 1, always ask for additional photos, right? Ask for photos. If you want to see anything, the barrel, the end of the bat, you want to confirm the weight. Make sure to confirm anything that's in the post. I'll always say like, hey, it says you said 100 swings. Is that pretty accurate? See what they say. Are there any cracks or seams, rattles, right? Another good thing to ask for, and again, we can't be perfect with this, we're just trying to mitigate all the risk, is ask them, hey, is the bat altered in any way? That's an important thing to know, right? Then the next thing is, what I always do is confirm the price and the shipping. Okay. Say, hey, you said $150, or hey, you said this price, or whatever it might be. Confirm that includes shipping. Most prices do include shipping to the lower 48. Most prices do. Okay. But make sure you know this. That's why you're asking. Okay. Another thing that I do, and this is sort of an advanced move, but I think it's worth it because I think taking a couple extra steps make things worth it, to make sure, again, that you're doing this the right way. I always ask them, especially if it's someone I don't know, why are they selling the bat? Now, why am I asking that? Well, one, I'm curious. Why are they selling the bat, right? Because you might be thinking, well, if it's so good, why are you selling it, right? And people have a million reasons for selling bats. They've got too many. They just got a sponsorship. They are retired from softball. I know some people that retire from softball every week, okay, then come back. Whatever it is, there's always really good reasons to sell bats, right? I don't really care that much about why they're selling it. I just want to see if I'm just trying to get a vibe for the person. Are they trying to be shady, or are they just kind of straightforward? You can kind of get a vibe just by asking that question. So that's the next thing that you want to do. Step 5 is negotiate if you want. Okay. Now this is, like a bazaar, where you're buying clothes overseas at a flea market, right? Some people like to think, okay, well, it's negotiation times, right? You can choose to negotiate. You can offer trades. If someone says they're interested in trades, that's totally fine. Also, beware that if you're buying multiple bats from someone, oftentimes there will be a price discount. So if it's, $150 per bat, you buy 2, you might be able to get them both for $280, $275. Okay. So ask for deals on multiples if you buy more. Now, here's a pro tip for you. And this is, a lot of people are going to be happy when I say this one. A lot of people are going to be happy. Is don't be a jerk and try to get like $5 or $10 off the bat. Okay. When you're selling bats online, you get a lot of looky-loos. People that come in, they waste your time, they're blah, blah, blah. They try to lowball you, all these different things when you're selling bats, okay? Don't negotiate. If someone says, hey, it's 170, don't be like, I'll take it for 168. Okay? Just don't be that person when it comes to that. That is not worth it to be dealing with that, okay? So step 5 is negotiating if you want to, right? Then step 6, and this is kind of the unique thing of buying bats on Facebook, is GTGs, the good to goes. Okay. Now, again, you might be thinking, wow, this sounds like a lot of steps. It sounds like a lot of work. This is actually quite simple once you get into it. I mean, this whole process can take 10 minutes. Okay. But it's well worth it to make sure you're getting the bat you want and kind of getting used to how this all works. Okay. So here's what I do. We agree on the price. We agree on everything. This is what I always say to people. This is a great system of checks and balances on Facebook and in the ecosystem. So I say, hey, listen, do you have any good to goes or screenshots of past deals? Okay. What this simply means, if they've got screenshots of someone, a bunch of people saying good to go and blah, 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 and it's pretty current. I have people send that to me, right? And say, hey, okay. And I can look through and all these people vouch for them. If they don't have something like that, or if they feel more comfortable getting them live, what they're going to do, or you can do, is make a post about them in one of the Facebook groups, the Facebook group that you found perhaps that they're in. And you say, hey, listen, I've got a deal with person X pending. Can they get good to goes? Or someone will post it, or they will post it themselves. Say, hey, I'm selling a bat to David Siteman Garland. Can I get some good to goes? And then people will come in there and comment if this person is good to go. Okay. Now, there's not a certain amount of number that you're really looking for, in my opinion, but you just want some people to vouch for this person, right? That's what you're doing. That's the entire purpose of these posts. And that's why if you get into these groups and you're going to be seeing all these GTG posts, you're going to be wondering what the HE double hockey sticks is going on. That's what it is. Okay. So you get your good to goes. Again, you don't need a million of them. It's not about necessarily quantity. I mean, you just want some people saying, hey, like, this person's good to go. They're going to take good care of you. I've bought a bat from them, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Use your spidey sense here. If something seems fishy, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to save $10, $20 on something fishy or whatever it is, right? If someone has 0 good to goes, red flag, right? Or if anyone's going to vouch for them, no one's going to vouch for them, red flag. Okay. Just be safe. Just be smart about it. Okay. The next step is the payment, the all-important payment, okay? This is when we're going to be sending over the bling bling. So there's a few ways to do this. Of course, there's the Venmos and the Cash apps. Those are great options. But my preferred way is PayPal, Okay. Now there's conflicting thoughts on this, and please let me know about in the comments. Okay. About your thoughts on this as well. But there's two ways to send people money on PayPal. Two ways. Okay. Friends and family, goods and services. Okay. Friends and family, goods and services. Friends and family charges no fee to anyone, but it's sort of buyer beware. If you don't get your bat or there's some kind of problem, you're not getting that money back. Okay. It's gone. All right. So that's friends and family. But goods and services charges a fee to the person that's receiving it. Okay. Goods and services. So what's going to happen with that is it's safer. Yes. But you might have to add on a few dollars if you're going to go that route. Okay. So meaning like if someone says, hey, I'm selling you the bat for $150, you say, great. Can I pay you via PayPal? They say, sure. Friends and family, or you can do goods and services and add in fees, which might be like $5 or $4 or something like that. And the difference is that let's just say something goes wrong. With goods and services, you can contact PayPal and get a refund. Okay. Now, what do I personally do? This is, again, take this for what it's worth. I prefer doing friends and family. That's just the way I do it. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I feel like when following those steps to this point, if you've done this diligently, I think, you can feel confident about going friends and family. That's just what I prefer to do. I don't really want to deal with fees or any of that kind of stuff. But again, there's no wrong or right thing there, right? So you send your money, confirm that they got it, right? Then you're going to send your address, right? Because they need somewhere to send the bet. So you want to send your address. And what I always do too, and without being super impatient, even though, we're all super impatient, I always kind of inquire, hey, when do you think it's going to go out? Just so I get a kind of an idea when they're going to ship it. Because a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to ship it on my lunch break tomorrow. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm out of town for 2 days. I'm going to ship it later. So make sure you know when they're shipping, and then simply say, after you ship, please send tracking. Okay. So once someone ships it, they'll either send a screenshot or whatever it might be of the tracking number. And then you'll have it. You can track it just like, Santa tracker in December. You could track in your package coming. And of course, in these crazy times, things are often delayed. And there's a lot of things that are out of people's hands at this point, but always ask for tracking. Okay. Then your bat will arrive. Yay. Okay. What do you want to do now? Well, first thing, give it a good inspection. Okay. I'm not talking about giving it a colonoscopy, but give it a good inspection. Is there any rattles? Is there any, is there any cracks? Is there anything that was not disclosed by the buyer? I'm sorry, by the seller, right? Is there anything weird? Like you get there and you're like, wait a minute, there's like a huge cut right here. Bats I've gotten probably out of hundreds. I mean, one or two was maybe not as described. Okay. If it's not as described, you can always go back and kind of negotiate with the seller. Okay. And by the way, only do this if it's something egregious, like, something pretty bad that you didn't notice. And you can always try to negotiate, say, hey, listen, you said this has 25 swings, but I got it. And, there's at least 5 million on it. And there's 5 cracks. Okay. Hopefully getting photos will mitigate all that, so you don't have to worry about it. But I'm just using an example. You can always say, hey, listen, I could send it back to you, or you can give me $50 back, $40 back, $30 back. Okay. This happens very, very rarely. But that's just something I did. I actually sent a bat. This actually happened to me, unfortunately, was I sent a bat to someone that was very, very minty, like meaning it was, great. And I guess it wasn't wrapped properly when I put it in the box. Like I usually put bubble wrap on it and things like that. And I don't know what I did. I must have messed it up, and it got kind of scraped in the box. Like it wasn't anything that would affect performance, but it certainly was a little bit, not as described once it arrived to him. And that's my responsibility. So he messaged me and said, hey, I said it was, he showed me the scrapes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is completely my fault. We came to a number. I think it was like $30, $40. I sent it back to him. I said, I apologize. That was, on me there. Something happened in the box. Okay. So that's the last step. And then what I would say is no matter what, once it gets there, send a thank you, right? Say, hey, thank you. It arrived. Great. Thank you for great doing business with you. That'll get you good karma in the future, and they'll know that it arrived. Okay. Now, a couple of additional tips and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Okay. So additional tip number one is, again, I said this before, I'm reiterating again, don't be an annoying looky-loo or low baller, right? Going in there and being like, hey, this bat's $200. I'll offer you $73 for it. Don't be that person, or go in and start asking people 600 unrelated questions to the bat, because that happens as well. Okay. If something feels off, don't do it. However, trust the ecosystem. There's literally thousands and thousands and thousands of these bats being sold all the time. And so you got to trust the ecosystem that it's looking out for your best interest and the softball community's best interest. So, keep that in mind as you look at this process. Okay. Then finally, this is the last kind of point and I'll look at it, see if we have any questions or anything to go over here at the end. But last point is responsibility. Okay. Who's responsible for what, right? This is the best way I think to look at it, is that it is the seller's responsibility until it is delivered. Okay. It is the seller's responsibility until it is delivered. So it gets lost in the mail. It gets destroyed. Mailman says, you know what? I want a new bat. Whatever it is. Okay. That is the seller's responsibility. Okay. Once it lands to you, so it's on your porch, it's over to your house, it's dropped at your apartment, whatever it is, meaning that it's now listed as delivered, that is now your responsibility, right? So if you have an unfortunate situation, I'm not saying this is going to happen, right? Is that, if you have an unfortunate situation where, let's say, it was delivered and then someone steals it off your porch, okay, right? That's on you. That's not on the seller at that point, right? Because it was delivered, the seller did their job, right? But anything up into that point, it's on the seller. Okay, makes sense? All right. So I'll get to questions here in a minute here. If you have questions, type them in, or any other comments, and I'll be sure to read those off here. And I'm going to also give a couple reminders on a little thing here. This is my first time using this software, so I'm kind of clicking around and figuring some stuff out as we go. But on the banners here, if you have not already joined, please come hang out with us in Rise Slow Pitch Softball Nation on Facebook. We're doing all kinds of stuff, bat reviews, talking about the game, having fun. We do live streams in there from all my team's games, and it's a great community that we built up in there. Go to facebook.com/groups/Rise Softball Nation. It's very unlike a lot of groups out there, because it's not just a buy-sell trade page or anything like that. It's really about softball community, and it's just a bit different. So I hope you come and hang out with us there in Rise Softball Nation. Okay. Now, another thing too, we're on YouTube. Now, I would give you this really big, ugly link to go get on YouTube, but we're about to get a pretty link soon. So it'll be like youtube.com/Rise Slow Pitch Softball soon, but we don't have that yet. So what I would say at this point is just go to YouTube and search for Rise Slow Pitch Softball Nation. Appreciate if you give us a subscribe over there on YouTube, so we can kind of build up multiple communities and spread the good word about softball and, all kinds of good stuff that's going on. Okay. Now, find a couple of things. If you like this video, if this was helpful, please, please, please feel free to share it. I'll make it very, very public. Not just for my benefit. Of course, it's great. I love people seeing videos, but it's for the community's benefit. I want people to make sure that they can follow this if they see this as being something valuable. I'm hoping that they can go check that out as well. Okay. So let me just check here on comments, see if we've got anything. Travis is saying, open those Serenities. Travis, I've got 8 Serenities. So I've way overdone it with Serenities. I've got 3 right here. I've got 5 in the garage, 426, 427. That is my favorite 220 bat. So I'll be swinging those this year. Drew Helmig, who's one of those people, by the way, Drew, I heard you're not retired anymore. So that's great news. Drew is saying, just buy all the bats. Yes, you could certainly do that. If you want to buy all the bats, go crazy. Let's see if let me just make sure here. Make sure I see everybody's comments. It's kind of the cool part of doing these videos live, and then we'll wrap up. But yes, my friends, that is it. Let me make sure I got everything here. Miggy is saying, spitting facts. Casey linked up softball's Wall of Shame, not good to go list. That is in our Rise Slow Pitch Softball Nation Facebook group. If you're not in there right now, hop in there. You will get a link to that, so you can go in there and check it out. And by the way, I'm telling you, pure entertainment. And Casey is reminding also, get your GTGs, people. All right. Wrapping it up, folks. Hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, share it, give us a comment, give us a like. We'll talk soon. See ya.